Hi everyone, my name is Owen Megabinao and welcome to the Coach Blueprint. And my guest today is going to teach you how you can use your blog to basically create a waiting list of coaching clients who can actually come in as leads, and you eventually convert them to paying clients. And my guest today's name is Steve Matile from blogmentorship.com. So, hey, Steve, I want to thank you for being a guest on the Code Blueprint.
Hey, man, Owen, really pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me on the call.
And just so anyone who's listening, the reason why we're doing these interviews for you as a coach is so that you can take the information that you learn from here and go ahead and implement them, and then come back on the show and share with us the results that you got. So the big question that we want Steve to answer today, is the big idea is how to use your blog to establish yourself as a leader in your niche and build an audience that gets to know, like, and trust you, and even buy from you. And the second big idea is, that we'll be discussing is how to build a complete blogging system that you can use to generate new leads and convert them into paying clients. So, Steve, I always want to ask, a question that, gets the audience interested to listen to the interview all the way to the end. So, because we're talking about blogging, right? How much did you generate? Okay, this is the question I want to ask. The highest amount that you've been able to generate for your coaching business as a result of your blog, what is that?
So the most I've generated in a month from blogging as a coach is $3,500. That's Canadian, and I actually earned $2,000 last month. So it kind of fluctuates anywhere between $1,500 to $3,500, depending on, to be honest, how many coaching clients I want to take on. That's all from private coaching. Something that I'm exploring now is group coaching, which would leverage time even more. But I haven't done that yet with the blogging. But the infrastructure's there. It's just a matter of time to do that as well.
And that's awesome. You said between the highest was $3,500, and that's Canadian dollars. But that is awesome. And it's like you're getting these people coming to your site to check out your blog content, and they're finding their way. And we're going to go into details as to how the system is, but to be able to generate that from your blog, that is something. And how many leads per month do you get as a result of your blog, I guess?
I get anywhere from $250 to $300 a month. And Owen, like, to be honest, the most shocking thing about this is that I only work about 4 hours a week. That's including writing articles, marketing, and coaching time. I had a lady that I've known her 2-3 years now. She's a blogger as well. And she said, send me your Facebook profile, send me your Twitter profile. And I said, I banned them. I just got rid of them. All I do is blog. And the reason I did that, I'm not totally out to lunch, is because 1% of my traffic last year came from Facebook. Twitter was like less than 1%. And I was pretty active with it. I mean, reasonably active with it. But I think, I've got a special report. We'll talk about that more at the end that, where coaches can learn about blogging. But when I wrote that report, I think 60% of my traffic was coming from search engines. Now it's 80%.
Wow.
So, when you got search engines, people looking for your stuff, showing up on the web, the traffic's there, and it automates your life, right? Which was my goal from the very beginning. So, yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I don't use any other social media, really. I just focus on blogs.
And sometimes it looks like the shiny red object, and in order to know if it's really working, you have to track. And I'm sure you're going to go into in this interview how you track to make sure that you know what's actually working for you, so that you can focus your marketing efforts on that. But there is a story I want you to share with the audience, is how you accidentally got into blogging, because I think we can learn from that as well.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, so I come from an engineering background, amazingly enough, and I got into writing. And when I was in high school, I wasn't much of a writer. I hated writing, actually. I really struggled with it. But 8-9 years later, what happened is I met a woman in Toronto.
Yeah.
And she was actually a publisher, and she had a magazine, and she had about 20,000 subscribers on her magazine. And we started talking, and I was just sharing a story. It was this: we had met, and we started talking, and she said to me, I would love for you to share that story and send me an article, and I'll publish it in the magazine. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I start writing the article. It's a couple days before Christmas. I remember it really clearly. I'm sitting in my parents' basement, and I'm putting together the article, and I was like, I got to get my mom to proofread this. So I get my mom to take a look at it, And she's like, it's really good. Still a little bit self-conscious. I send the article away, and she's like, the lady who I'm speaking to, the publisher, we're going to post it in the magazine. And then they posted 3 more articles after that. So I kind of got hooked after that. I was like, okay, what else can I write about? What else? So then that's how I stumbled onto blogging. And then when I got into blogging, at that time I was getting into coaching, but getting clients is tough, just word of mouth, if you haven't established a reputation yet.
Yeah.
So what the blog has done is it's establishing my reputation 24 hours, 7 days a week while I'm doing other things. So that, my ultimate goal was I want to find the easiest, fastest way to get clients for my coaching business, and blogging just happened to be the way to do it.
And I like that story because it shows how, like, I'm sure because you went on her website and posted your articles, it helped to do kind of social proof for you, because people already respect her, and like maybe a news column see you on there. In their mind, you are now the expert in your field. So social proof, I guess.
Right, you got it. You nailed it. And to be, it just happened this week, so I'm kind of throwing fresh news out. I'm going to be doing a publishing in a book, a print book, with Bob Doyle from The Syndicate, which is really cool. So that just kind of happened out of thin air on the last week, and it's pretty cool with some of the things that have been happening, the traction that I've been getting from it.
And one of the things I like to do is always compare and contrast, because we're going to teach people about how to use blogging. We're going to go into more details, so audience, just bear with us. But the contrast I want to make is your coaching business before you actually got a strong, firm grip on blogging as your main medium for marketing. I want to compare and contrast. What was it like then, and how has that changed now because of the blogging, I guess?
It's tough, man. I mean, I was what I was doing to get clients is I was going to networking events, and I was going to seminars, which I would always go to anyways because I was just excited to be there. And I would go to these personal growth, human potential seminars, and I'd kind of start talking to people, and I'd be like, are they a good match? And just kind of listen, and then go to someone else and start talking. Are they a good match? And then kind of like say, I've got coaching, and it didn't really lead to anything. I ended up getting one client that way because it was someone who was my massage therapist who I'd worked with, and she's like, oh, I'm really interested in some of the stuff that you do, and let's do some coaching. So that it came out that way. But in terms of a reliable, repeatable way to get clients, it's scary, to be honest.
Definitely.
So that's the way I was doing it.
Yeah, and so it was a thing where it wasn't consistent, and you couldn't really see what's working because you were having to go for networking, and there was no means in which these people were coming into a kind of a funnel where they gotten to know, like, and trust you. And now, I guess with the blogging now, that's helping you with that whole process of getting them in their mind to make them understand that you are the right person to be talking to for that particular issue that they want to solve. And so because we have different audience, people are, who already understand what blogging is. People want to learn how you are making use of blogging and take your ideas and implement in their business, or people who are just new to it. So let's start, give people a kind of intro. What exactly is a blog?
Okay, so I guess the easiest way to explain it is a blog is just a website on steroids. It's basically a platform where you can distribute your content on the web, and that content can be audio content, video content. It can be written content. It can be any type of content. It could be special reports. But it's a way to develop and integrate your message and what you have to say and share to the world to the web. That's really what it's about. Like, if you ever were looking for an outlet, a place to share your message, and your friends are not listening, and your family's not listening, and everyone else is not listening to you, and you're in a job and they're not listening to what you have to say, go to the web. People will listen. You'll attract people that are interested in what you have to say. And that's how I got started. So that's really what a blog does. It gives you access to this huge network of people that are interested in your message. And what I found really interesting, I was watching the TED Talk where the speaker, and I can't remember his name.
I love those, the TED Talks. They're very beautiful.
They're fantastic.
I'm telling you, inspiring talks. Go ahead. Sorry about
that. They're
fantastic.
And I can't remember the speaker's name, but he was talking about technology, and he was saying in the next 20 years, he goes, 2 billion more people are going to be on the internet. So if you're not on the internet now, get a blog and get on the internet, because it's going that way. That's where commerce is going, and especially if you're a coach. So blogs, what they do is, like, it's an easy way to give you access to spread your message and share it online. It gives you an outlet, a creative outlet. but it also allows you to do it in a way that never could be done before. You don't really need to know a lot of HTML, or you don't need to do any programming. To get a basic blog set up, all you're going to do is go to WordPresscom and sign up. I mean, that's what I suggest people do, is start with WordPress and go from there, because they're the elite, well, I would say the best software out there, and one of the easiest to use, but also gives you scalability to kind of explore new things.
Okay, and so let's give people an example of, because we've talked about what blogging is and the benefits of blogging, because now you can now get connected with the global audience, people who you're trying to target. And so if you're having trouble targeting them physically in your neighborhood, there are people that are thinking the way you want, like-minded people around the world, and having a blog gives you that access to them. And now we start talking about what platforms to use, and you said WordPress.com. That's like the free version. Your blog, which is freedomeducation.ca, I think that's a self-hosted blog, right?
You got it, yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. One of the things I want to do is use examples. So what was your process for, just quickly how you set that blog up, and we can,
Oof. I'm not too technical, I'll be honest with you.
And that's good. That's good, because however you set it up, people might be in a situation where they're not as technical, but learning from your experience can get them started too.
For sure. Okay, so I started with the WordPress.com website, and it's still actually up now. And just to kind of very green, I wasn't sure. I was just like publishing articles in this magazine, so I wasn't sure how to do it. So I started there, and that was easy. That was a 5-minute sign up, and then all of a sudden I had this WordPress.com website. I did that for about a year. I played around with it, started to get a better feel for it. Then I went to WordPress.org. The setup is, I have a friend who's really technical, so he knew I was getting into blogging, and so he got interested in it too. And so I said, tell you what, man, I'll give you some marketing tips if you can give me some technical advice. So he helped me out.
Yeah, you exchange something valuable to each other. Go ahead.
That's it, right? Yeah, so that's what I did. As I said, hey, man, if you help me out, I'll help you out. And that's how I got started. And I sometimes I take for granted some of the bit of the background I got on the technical stuff. But, yeah, that's how I got started. And that's what I suggest is, like, there's probably, for whatever you have of value, maybe you've got coaching that you really love to coach, but you have no idea how to set up a blog. Offer someone technical some coaching. Maybe if there's a match, then you can make it happen that way too. But that's how I got started.
And so just I want to make sure that people understand that the difference between the WordPress.com is really where it's owned by WordPress, is their site, but you're going on there and posting your content. But the self-hosted one is where you take their software but host it on your own domain. So now this is your own property, but you're using the WordPress software, and now you can now start blogging on there. And I'm curious, what did you find in your own perspective was the benefits of moving from the free version, which is owned by WordPress.com, but now having your own blog, which you host? What was the benefit of doing that?
So the biggest benefit, and I always tell coaches this, is that you own the website. That's huge, right? So if you build this asset up and I always try to think of blogging as a business. So it's an asset, right? There's equity in it. I call it, virtual equity. There's real estate equity, physical property. This is virtual equity. And you can actually sell your website online if at some point, or your blog, at some point where it's worth something to someone. And so the way I kind of think of it is, like, if you're going to build a business, build in some equity, something you can own, so that if WordPress decides to change the rules in terms of their free offering, the WordPress.com, you're not going to be affected by that, because you've got .org, you've got control of the website, you can customize it the way you want, you can add widgets where you want to add widgets. There's limited functionality in the .com version of WordPress, but in .org it gives you a lot more flexibility, and you can what you can do is you can customize and change things. And I had people, one guy actually came to me and said, I love your theme, can I get it anywhere else? And I was like, well, I kind of took one theme and then I added this and changed that, and so it's this customized theme, which you can't do from what I understand on .com. So there's the main thing, though, is that you own the website. You really want to own your own website, because it is your business. At some point, you might have a website that's generating, or a blog that's generating leads, coaching clients, passive income from it, and you might want to sell it. You're like, I want to get into something else now. I want to I want to get into directing or whatever, and I'm kind of done with the coaching business. That is a real asset you can sell and give to someone else and say, hey, this is making money for you. This is generating leads. This is getting clients. Do you want to buy it from me? If you have .com, you can't do that.
Definitely. And so the thing you mentioned about theme, I want to see if I can quickly explain is that the WordPress sites, they come out looking in different designs. And so a theme is just basically you creating the site or having someone design a outline of how you want your site to look. That's what a theme is. Just anyone who doesn't know what that was, right? And so one of the things we're finding out is that, you know, you started doing a lot of content. You started creating a lot of content. And I was trying to figure out what is your process for creating content, because people might be listening to this and say, okay, I know I have to get a blog, but if I have a blog without content, then it's nothing. So how did you get past that challenge, and what is your process for creating content?
So Owen, it's changed quite a bit over the last couple of years, because I started out writing, and I still do a lot of writing. I love writing, but it's changed. Now I do a lot of video. I do video because I find it's more personal. I find it, you know, I can get straight to the message. If I got something on my mind, boom, I get my laptop out, I record it, I'm done. And it's sort of this sound bite that people can listen to and get some value from. So my process is get inspired, record something, and put it online. And, you know, the quality of my videos in terms of not the content, but like some of the sound, some of them you hear buzzing, you hear this fan buzzing. Like some of them are terrible. But the bottom line is that most people don't notice that. Because they're zoning in on the content. It's like it's called, right? People want the content. They want something of value that they can take and use. And if you focus on delivering that, something like how-to articles, you know, 7 reasons why, whatever it is, list articles, things that are of value to people. If you either give lists of, you know, reasons why something's not working, or lists of reasons why something should work for you, or how to do something, then, you know, the web is your oyster. You really just got to focus on something that's going to be of value to other people, and then find a way to capture it. It could be a recording, it could be a video, or it can be something you write. But that's really, you know, and I don't try to waste any time. Like my videos, most of them are one take, and I'm done. I'm going on. I'm moving on to the next thing. That's pretty much it.
Definitely. And I guess just to make it concrete, you blog about what, for instance, because I want to give people an example of, you know, what your main topic is about, and kind of like what types of, you know, variants of that, you know, topic that you put out there so that you attract the right kind of people. So what is your core blogging focus, I guess?
So my blog is focused on manifestation, law of attraction, and the power of your mind. What I've done over the years is I've switched and gotten into creating financial abundance, creating financial wealth, as I've become, you know, created that wealth for myself. Yeah. So, because I have other business than just the coaching. So what I find is that the more, you know, the most important thing you can do when you're writing content is to write from the heart. Write about things that you're excited about, and if you're excited about, you're going to start matching with what other people are excited about. Don't wait until you get it right. Don't wait until it's perfect. Don't overanalyze. Just put it out there. It's one of the hardest things to do when you first get started, is to get used to being vulnerable, because you're putting this, you know, this information out there, and it's up for criticism, right? And that's where a lot of people get stuck. And what I'm saying is, some people are going to like it, some people are not. The people who don't won't come back. And the people that do will. So keep putting it out more, what you enjoy and what you're interested in. Now, some people who have, you know, some coaches who actually have a mailing list tied to their blog, what they'll do is they'll narrow in and focus on one topic that's a little bit narrower than the blog. So what I kind of think is, your blog is, you know, this universe and this type of content and this sort of space. And then your newsletter is a little narrower in topic. So I focus more just on the mind when I talk and send out my email newsletters. But on my blog, it's like the whole human potential, anything to do with human potential or personal growth. So it's a smorgasbord of like all this stuff. But the newsletter, I find, is a little bit more narrow in topic.
And to me, that's kind of like a funnel, because you putting out the information all around this core, you know, maybe around how people manage their mind, and you put in all sorts of information around that. But then, because you want them closer and closer to you, so the email now is now focused on a specific subset of that, you know, improving your mind topic, I guess. And so you mentioned something about, you know, having a targeted email list, because it's one thing to have a blog where people come in and view for the first time and like the content, but then it's another thing, because we all have this attention deficit ADD thing, to get them back to the site. And I figured probably that's one of the reasons you have an email list. So let's talk about that. What did you do to your process for setting up the email list and to get people signed up so that you can always get them back to view your new content, I guess.
So something I was going to actually say for the end of the call, I'll share right now because I think this kind of sets the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. So what I've done is I've created a client getting system, and the client getting system has 5 parts. The 5 parts. The first part's the blogging system. Okay, so we talked about WordPress.org having a specific theme and appearance. The second part is having a traffic system. Okay. And then once you've got your traffic system in place, the second component of that is your content system. They work hand in hand. The higher your content gets searched in the search engines, the more traffic you get. So once you've got a traffic system and a content system and your blogging system, you're ready to create a lead generation system. And then from there you go to your client getting system. Now the lead generation system that I use AWeber is the mailing list that I use to capture any new leads. And the way that I've got it set up is that all throughout my blog, I mean, I must have 350 different videos and articles in my blog.
Yeah.
On every one of those pages, there's a call to action if someone wants more information to learn more about the topic that I'm sharing in a video or a piece of content, to actually subscribe to my email newsletter. And that's all throughout my blog. That's on every page. There's also 6 different areas where I have these lead capture areas. Areas where it's like, hey, sometimes in a video all I'll do is say, hey, if you want more cool videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my email newsletter. Click here. Something simple like that, right? But some form of action. It's not just like giving out the content. It's like, oh, I really love your content, really love your content. What do I do now? Check out this. Sign up for my email newsletter. So it's just to remind people that this is the next step. If you want to come on this journey with me, I'm having fun. Do you want to join me? Sign up here. So I do that all throughout my blog. I'm just like giving calls to action throughout the blog so that there's an opportunity for whoever's liking what I got to come check out more of what I have.
And one of the things I want to do is, you mentioned something very good, is you're giving them explicit call to action. You're not just imagining that they're going to do what you want. You're putting yourself in the mind of the person who came to your site the first time, loves this stuff. Okay, what they want to get more information, and you're giving them a means to do that. And you say you have different places on your site, and you have 6 different places that you do that. Can you make it more concrete by telling us like where on your site you do it? I want my audience to take ideas that you have and actually implement it.
Now, if you could go to my homepage, I don't know if you can, but if you go to one of the pages on my homepage, just click on any article. At the bottom of every article, I have a banner, okay? It's not an ad banner, a Google ad banner. It's not any type of banner that's clicking for an ad. It actually, you click on that page, and it goes to a very specific opt-in page. And at that opt-in page, there's an opportunity. You can sign up for a free gift that I offer, or you can take off and you can go do something else.
Only one thing. When they click on this page, which is the landing page or squeeze page, as they say, they go to that page, and only one thing they could do: sign up, enter your name. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So and that's the squeeze page. Now I also have in the sidebar, on the left sidebar on my blog at freedomeducation.ca, I have an opt-in there as well. So that's another opportunity for someone saying, you know what, this stuff's pretty cool. I want to sign up and get more, and they can sign up there. There's another feature AWeber has, and if you don't have AWeber, I suggest you do get it. It's, what's it called? It's sort of a hover form. That's what it's called. And what it does,
like a pop-up? It pops up, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
Similar to a pop-up, but what it does, it's more subtle. What happens, first of all, it only shows up for the first time someone comes to the blog. The second time someone comes to the blog, it doesn't show up.
Okay.
So the first time someone comes, go to my blog, freedomeducation.ca, for the first time. There's this pop-up. It's called the hover form in AWeber, and it basically, there's a small box, and there's a call to action on it, and then all around the box, it kind of darkens out the screen. So you can kind of see this gray shade. You can see the web screen, and you can either click close or sign up for the email newsletter. That's another location. Now, you're really testing me. Where else do I have it?
Well, I mean, if you remember as we go through the interview, you can say, but I wanted to give audience a kind of like a concrete example of what you just said. And because you have all these different places where you have explicit call to actions for people to sign up to join your email list, which is your lead system, I'm curious, can you share statistics on the numbers of people that are actually signing up for this thing so that people can understand how it's working effectively?
So one thing you mentioned, Owen, was having a squeeze page, opt-in page, squeeze page. If you're not familiar with the term, just search it online. Just go to Google squeeze page. What is it? And you'll find out. There's a special report that I was going to talk about at the end, but there's a squeeze page example in there where you can physically see, like, okay, this is exactly what a squeeze page is. I recommend every coach has one. And in the squeeze page, you can see that I've got one for Blogging for Coaches group, which is part of the blog mentorship program. That has a squeeze page, and it converts at about 40%.
Wow.
So every 100 people that go to that specific squeeze page, 40 people sign up, and 60 people say, no, this isn't for me. I have a similar page on freedomeducation.ca, and it converts at about 37%. So it varies depending on the type of page that I'm offering and the people that are going to it.
And
so
you know what I love about sorry, I mean, I'm excited and I'm just trying to jump in when I can. But what I love about it is you have numbers. You know the conversion rates. It's kind of like, oh, how many people can I drive to this page? Knowing your numbers, you know that if 100 people send to this page, because you have 40% conversion on that specific page, 40 of them are going to convert and join your mailing list and become leads. I love that.
It's awesome because remember we talked about earlier, Owen, about being predictable,
yeah.
And having predictable business. I once heard T. Harv Eker say, he said, business should be boring and repeatable, and I'm like, I agree. I want it to be boring. Not in that sense, but I like to have fun too. But what I'm saying is that it's predictable. So it's like you said, if I send this many people, if I send 1,000 people to that page, I know that 400 are going to sign up, or at least I have a good idea. And it's really important to know those kind of metrics. I'll throw out another metric. One of the things I realized that when I was reading through the blog report, which I wrote up over a year ago, that special blogging report that we've been talking about a little bit, is that, I had at that point 6,000 unique visitors come to my blog in a single month. Wow. I just passed 10,000 last month, which was, to me, I was like, oh, it's almost double. So I do track that, and I think it's important as a coach to track that, because if you notice month to month that the number of unique people that go to your blog increases month to month, then it's showing that you're growing, that your business is growing, and that, you know what? People like what you got, so keep doing it.
Definitely. And so people know now they have to have a gift to give people. They have to have a lead system where people sign in to join the email list. But then, one of the things they might be thinking is, okay, besides having content that you're blogging all the time and sending people who are on your email list, oh, I have this new content, what else can we put in kind of like a follow-up sequence to to get people coming back to to check out your blog, or even what is the ideal kind of follow-up sequence you want to create is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, what I do is once someone signs up to my email newsletter for freedomeducation.ca, I think I got a series of about 29 or 30 messages that go out once a week for the next 30 weeks.
Wow.
And so what that does is it does a couple things. One, it sends people back to my blog. So they're going back to my blog. And two, what it does is it sends people content. And if you know how a bit about the sales process, it's important to make contact with people. And most sales don't happen in the first 1 to 5 contacts. You could do a cold call 5 times, and that person's still not sure about you.
Yeah.
But after a while, people start getting used to you. It becomes normal. It's called the illusion of truth. When you do something over and over again,
yeah,
you get used to it and it becomes normal. Then the people start to trust you. And especially if you've got great content, they really see the value in who you are. And if they see the value in your free stuff, they're going to start thinking, man, I wonder how good his paid stuff is. So it's just a psychology in buying, right? You just want to keep contact with people who are on your leads. You don't just want to send them a free gift and never talk to them again. You want to continue to follow up with them. And that's a feature, that follow-up feature is built into AWeber.
And so just anyone listening knows this, that AWeber is a tool that you use to handle your email. So when people enter into your email list, they go into the AWeber system you have set up, and you have a follow-up sequence. Someone that might be listening to this and has not even started this whole process of blogging, or don't even have an email list, they might feel overwhelmed by, oh, now I have to figure out 30 different messages that I have to send to them. Help me teach that person, your process of how. I'm sure when you started, you didn't have 30 messages, right? So how did you get past that mind block, or whatever it's called?
So first thing is focus. So if there's a topic you're very passionate and excited about, that's where I really recommend people start, because I just find is that the more I start, creating and sending out what I'm passionate about, the more other people start coming back and saying, I'm really passionate about that too. And all of a sudden you got a blog, you got a community, right?
Yeah.
So the gift that you give on your squeeze page or opt-in page, and let's just qualify that, Owen, it's really important to give something of value. You could give away videos of how to do something. I worked with, this was a year and a half ago, a guitar player. He played a guitar for years, and he's like, I learned this really cool new thing. It's called 3-finger guitar. And I said, how long does it take you to teach it to someone? He said, 5 minutes. I can show you, in a video right now. I said, that should be your free gift. If people want to learn about guitar, 3-finger guitar in 5 minutes, So it's something enticing. It's something attractive. It's something people want to learn. Give it away for free. Yeah. I always recommend that. And so the block that comes up is not like, what should I give away? Coaches are like, well, I don't want to give away too much. If I give away too much, then I'm going to give away the farm. And if I give away the farm, then I'm going to have nothing left. Here's the reality, and this is what I learned like a long time ago when I started writing. The more that you write, the more ideas you get. And the more ideas you get, the more content you'll create. So just start with the first one, which is a free ebook, a free set of videos, one free video. What it is, just start with one and give that away on your squeeze page. That's what I'd suggest.
Okay, and so, but I understand the squeeze page part of the thing where people are seeing that, okay, when they sign up for the squeeze page, when they sign up for the squeeze page, they're going to get the free gift. But what I'm also thinking is, you mentioned this second thing where you say you keep bringing them back to the site. But in the beginning, did you have all this content already pre-made so that you could create the autoresponder sequence? Or how did you build the autoresponder sequence, the actual emails, messages that gets them content or reason to come back? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Gotcha. What I did is first I started with the free report, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And after I gave away a free report, it was called How to Discover Your Life Purpose. So I gave away that free report. It was a free ebook. And then after that, I just had a welcome message in my email. And that was it. That's how I started. Welcome message says, hey, my name's Steve. Check out my free ebook. Click here. And then that brings them to the blog. And they would go to my blog and download the PDF for that ebook there. That's all I started with. That's it.
That's it. And so I guess over time, as you kept on building new content, you just add that message as a new message to the sequence. And over time, it now looks like you have all this message, but you didn't start with 30 messages over the whole period of a year at once. You just started with that one and continuously added more and more. That's what I'm getting from you, right?
That's it, man. And then just a little bit over time, I mean, right now I publish content weekly, so once a week, sometimes twice a week if I'm feeling ambitious. And so, what I have found is that, now that I've been doing it, like if you published for a month, once a week, that's 4 articles or 4 videos. Those could be your free gifts, and that could get someone coming to your blog 4 times. And like I said, part of the sales process is that you want to build, people only buy from other people they like and trust. The only way you're going to get other people to like and trust you is to keep, sending them messages and say, hey man, check out this other cool video I got. Check out this other cool free report. You can even refer to other people's stuff. Check out this guy's other stuff. But they're getting it from you and you're making contact. So it doesn't have to be your stuff. It can be other people's stuff. If you are a coach and you're in the, follow your life direction, or you're trying to help people that's trying to find their life path, take my ebook, How to Uncover Your Life Purpose, go to my freedomeducation.ca blog, take it, and give it away to them. I have no copyright on it. You can have it. As long as you don't change it, you can do whatever you want with it. So that would be the quickest way for you to get started.
I like that. So if you don't have the content, you can find content out there that, appeals to your audience. And then that way they will even look at you like, oh, this guy, is the connector. It's connecting me with other people, even though it's not his content. But they would attribute that whole connection to you. And hence, you are ending up looking more like the expert because you made that connection as well.
You got it.
And so I think one of the things that I'm trying to get at now is in regards to traffic, because I understand that, it's all about building a system so that there's a traffic. We have the lead system now where we're collecting people who come to our website. They've signed up for our free gift. But there's another part of the process, which is getting people to the site in the first place, which is the traffic system. I know that, with the traffic system, you have direct traffic, you have referring sites referring people to you, you have search engine traffic, or even paid traffic. But I'm trying to get from you, since you're the expert in this, is what exactly do you use to get traffic to your site? What do you find works best for you?
Okay, so probably one of the really coolest things I did when I first got started is I learned how to get links into my blog from other blogs. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do that. One way is to actually just write awesome stuff. Another way would be to, and then people will naturally share it, right? The people who visit your blog will naturally share if it's really good. Yeah. The other way is to maybe set up a YouTube account, a YouTube channel, and then link from that YouTube channel into your blog, because you're sending a link into your blog. So that's another way to do it. And one of the probably most powerful ways is to do a guest articles, where you go and you write a piece of content for another blogger, and then they link, at the end of that article, they link to your blog.
Okay.
Now what that does, so what's the big deal with linking? Linking's really cool and really important, because what it does is every time someone links to your blog, it's like a vote to Google. So to Google, they're like, whoa, this other guy got voted. This page got voted again. It got voted again. And the more votes you get, the higher you show up on the search engine rankings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. It tells Google that this person, for this very specific content or keyword that we're writing about, this person is the go-to place, I guess.
Yeah, the go-to place, and in their mind is going to provide the best value and the best content for that keyword. So that's way to do it, is to actually approach other bloggers and say, hey, I've written in this topic. This is the types of articles I've written. Would you be interested in a guest article? A lot of people don't do it, and this is why. Coaches might not do it because they're like, how do I do it? How do I get on? They're posting other people's content on their blog.
Yeah. And
that's okay, but what you want to do is you want to do something that's mutually beneficial to both parties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to a blogger who has a lot of traffic and you say, hey, I'll write this article if you link back to my blog, what's the benefit to the person who has the high traffic blog? Here's the benefit. It's one less piece of content that they have to write that week.
Yeah.
Right? So most coaches don't really see the value in doing that. And so they're just like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to do it. What's in it for me? It's just little me. Now, you might not get on, the highest traffic blog when you post a guest article, but at least you can post on someone who has a bit more traffic than you. And that's the key, is just to pick someone that's a little bit higher than where you are to say, hey, you know what? I've got some great content. And if you want, I can write some for you, post it on your blog. All I ask is you send a link back to my blog. And as you get more links to your blog, what happens is you start to get more traffic from the search engines.
And not only that, too, is I think we also will need to dive into more details about that, because it's one thing to do guest posting, but I'm trying to figure out, how do you pick as the, say for instance, you're now, in your case now, you do live coaching, right? How do you pick the right type of blogs to go do guest posting for? Because you don't want all types of traffic. You want quality traffic, the targeted traffic, who are might most likely be your target type of clients. So what's your process for choosing the right blogs to guest post on?
Okay, so I got a 7-step process, and I'm going to refer to my notes a bit because I haven't done this in quite a while. I get traffic different ways now, so this is the 7-step process that I would use. So first thing is to find blogs in your niche where you can post a guest article. How do you find, blogs in your niche? What you do is you type in Google, just go blog, the word blog, and then your keyword, life direction, blog, law of attraction, blog, business coaching, blog, okay? Real estate coaching, blog. Whatever it is.
I like that.
Whatever it is. So then what you do is you can just see what comes up, and you're going to see a bunch of sites come up. You want to actually go to the ones that are blogs.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be a website too. I haven't done this. It could be another website that just links to your blog. But what you want to do is you want to look for the orange symbol, that blog symbol, right? Everyone's seen it before. It's the standard symbol across the web. And you want to do is if they've got that symbol, what that means is they have an RSS feed, they're a blog, and you want to look on their blog somewhere where it says guest articles or posts from feature posts, or and just see if that blogger for the very beginning actually accepts guest blogs, okay, guest posts. Next thing you want to do is, before you even contact them, is you want to start contacting or commenting on the blog. Okay? You want to, and there's a specific reason you do this. The reason you want to comment on the blog is you want to get the owner's attention. You want to say, you start commenting on blogs and see if they comment back to what you're saying. If they do, it means you've got their attention. And attention is everything.
Yeah.
If you got their attention, then what you can do is send them, so once you've got their attention, send them a quick email, and this is step 3. Send them a quick email and say, hey, you know, I really like the content in your blog. You posted this comment. You know, whatever the topic was that you caught their attention, put that in the subject line and say, hey, you know, would you be interested in a guest article? Okay? And then after, if they say yes, you put all your effort into creating a top-notch article or video, or I've done both. I've done guest videos, I've done guest articles, and, you know, submit something top-notch to them, something that's really, really going to stand you out from everyone else. And then what you do is, once it's done, submit it to them, and pick a really good title, something that's really going to be attractive to people, or something that's a how-to article, or you can go to the blog and see what other kinds of articles they're writing, and see which ones are getting the most comments. The ones that are getting the most comments are getting the most traction and attention, and you might want to run a spin-off of a title of one of those articles. Now, when you send your email out to get attention, say, hey, you know, this is step 5. If you say, hey, blogger, you know, whoever it is, Jimmy, say, I've been following your blog a few weeks. I've even commented on a couple blogs, and I'm just, you know, I was hoping you might accept a guest article from me.
Yeah.
The article's called this. You can attach it in an email to say, what do you think? Question mark. Or what do you say? Question mark. And see what happens. Now, once you've actually got your guest article, it's going to be published on that guest blog, on the other person's blog. What you want to do is you want to include a little bio at the end that says like a little bit about what you do, and then a link that goes back to your blog. Okay? And that's the most important part, because you're trying to attract links, right?
Yeah.
So include that link that goes back to your blog, and then that way you'll get traffic, you'll get the link. Life's good. And then step 7 is, once it's been published, go and comment back on all the people who are commenting on your article on their blog, and comment back to them. Why are you doing that? You're trying to make it easy for the person who owns that blog, that guest blog. You're trying to make it easy for them so they don't have to do all the work and comment back. So save them some time. Make it really easy for them. Why would you want to do that? Well, because if you make it really easy for them, then what happens is the next time that you're actually going out to ask for a guest blog, they're more likely to accept your request because you made it really easy for them, right? These people are business owners for the most part, so they want, if it's easy, then, you know, it makes it that much easier for you.
Another benefit I see in that too is if the person already has a community of people who comes to his blog, and you are guest posting on there, and so you besides getting the link so that Google knows that this is, you know, this site links to your site, right? You're also getting attention and eyeballs from that person's audience, and by going there after you've done the blog post to go on there to engage as people have comments, you're basically getting the most engaged people on that site to see the value in dealing with you, and obviously bring them back to your site so they can engage with you. I'm thinking that's kind of one of the benefits of engaging on the site even after you've done the blog post.
It is, and I mean, I had an article that I published, and it was over a year after I'd published that article, and I was still getting a trickle every week from people still visiting my blog from it. So yeah, that definitely is a benefit.
Well, tell me an example about that, because that was the next question I was going to ask you. Just give us an example, a highlight of, you know, one of the best blog posts, guest posting that you've done, and kind of the, you know, results you've seen from that. So if you can share anyone, that would be nice.
Okay, so the numbers are off the top of my head. I can't remember them, and they're probably more accurate in the report that we'll give the link at the end of this call, but at the end of the interview. But I think it was something like, I'm not really sure, to be honest, how many people, but I ended up getting 500 leads in 7 days.
That is awesome. That is, I mean, shoot. 500 leads that you know what your conversion rates are in order to convert them into clients. Shoot, that is something.
Yeah, it was really powerful, and when I actually had that experience, I was like, oh, okay, I see how this works. So yeah, it was 500 new leads from that one guest blog post. Another really cool thing you can do, Owen, and other coaches can do, is you can do posts in other high-profile newsletters. So when I say high profile, I'm talking about people who have big lists. Maybe they got 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 people on their email list. And
also, not even their blog posts now, but you're saying email. So when they're sending emails to people, you can do guest. What would that be called? Guest email post.
It's very cool. It's very cool. The only problem is that I just kind of figured this out half-mashed as I was going through it. And the first time that I actually realized what was happening, I had something like 8,000 people visit my blog in one day, but I didn't have any. I had no lead generation. All I had were some Google ads. And so after a time, I realized I'm like, I think I earned like $300 from Google AdSense in one day, and I was like, well, that was cool. Yeah. But then that all went away, and I was like, well, now what?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's another way you can do it as well with email newsletters.
And one thing you said before we got into this whole topic about guest posting, and now you just mentioned also sending out guest emails in someone else's email newsletter so that their community by email can see it. You mentioned how you syndicate your content on YouTube. I'm also assuming that you also syndicate it on Twitter and Facebook just so that you can get as many touch points out there as possible.
Well, I don't anymore because I found that Facebook, I totally banned Facebook about, I don't know if it was 5 or 6 months ago, because it was another nuisance to me. It was, I had a bunch of people that were my friends that said, well, how come you got rid of Facebook? I said, you know my number. I said, you know where I live. Just come over. I said, we'll hang out. We'll have a beer, whatever. But what I found with Facebook and what I found with Twitter was just like the benefit wasn't there. Like I said, at that point, and that was only 6 months ago, 70% of my traffic was coming from search engines. 1% was coming from Facebook, and Twitter was less than 1%. So it's like I'm measuring what's working, and I'm like, this isn't really working for the business that I'm building. And I was really impressed. I was really surprised. I got to 10,000 uniques in 1 month, but I did that without Facebook and without Twitter. So I mean, it's possible, right?
Yeah, and so the takeaway I'm getting from that is that don't exclude anything initially. Test, but be tracking, and then eventually see, okay, out of these 5 different ways in which I'm syndicating my content, or trying to reach other audiences, this is what's working. And so if this is what's working, let me focus more on that. Why I still find other ways to find new traffic back to my site. I guess that's
absolutely. Yeah, test everything. And I've got a mantra that I've been playing with the last 30, 40 days, and it's like, question everything. Question everything. So if someone says something works, don't believe them, question it, and test it in your own experience. Just think of this like as an experiment. Everything's an experiment, and so keep testing until you know what works. And it's like you said, as long as you've got some sort of measurables, some data, something that says, okay, this is working, well, stop doing this, just focus on this. Just focus on that 1 or 2 things, whatever it is.
I'm just curious, though, because people might be seeing that, and hearing that fact that you actually track and measure stuff. What tools do you kind of use to measure and track, stats from your blog and conversions and all that? Just share some of this with the audience so far.
So for my blog, I track all the traffic with Google Analytics. Mm-hmm. It's free. It's a free tool. So you can use that, and you just go type in Google Analytics, and you can sign up for it and set it up in your blog. As for squeeze page, conversions, all that stuff, that's built into AWeber. So it's already built there. It's set up. So it's amazing. That's why I recommend it. You go to see how your squeeze page is doing, and it'll tell you conversions and how you're doing. So it's all built in. I had a friend who was using a free email software, and I said, man, you got to get off that. You got to get into AWeber. It's really good. He's like, no, I'm going to keep using it. It's free or whatever. And I said, okay, that's fine. I think AWeber is $30 a month or whatever it was. And so I said, well, how are your squeeze page conversions going? And he's like, give me about an hour. I'll let you know. So, I mean, my time's valuable, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Squeeze, AWeber is where it's at.
Definitely. And so one of the things that we promise the audience is that, the whole thing is to get people to know, like, and trust you and eventually buy from you. And so I'm trying to figure out, how do you toe that free line? So they've come in, they've signed up, they're now a lead, and they're continuously seeing content that you're sending to them via your email messages to them so that they come back to blog and even read more content. So you're getting more touch points with them. But there has to be a point at which you convert some of those leads into paying paying coaching clients. So what is your techniques for doing that?
I've experimented with that too, right? It's about testing like we talked about. So originally what I would do is I would do like a sample session where I would offer a free session to my mailing list, and then I'd get a flood of emails of requests wanting to do a free session, and I would do free sessions. And some of those free sessions would convert into coaching clients. People would be like, you know what? I got a sense of who you are. I really like you. I know that you can help me. So let's go to the next level. Let's enroll in a 6-month coaching program or month by month or whatever. And so that was one way that I did it. And that worked really well. But recently, I figured out how to write a little bit of copy. And so over Christmas, I actually set up a sign-up page where people could sign up for coaching, and that worked as well. So I experiment, but I guess it doesn't matter the way you do it, but you do need a sales process. A process that says, you know, okay, you like my free stuff, well, here's a product I have. And if you like my product, here's my coaching. But it's always about, you know, we talked about on the blog, right? A call to action after you give away the free content. That's the same thing I'm doing on any sales process. It's like, hey, if you like this free session we're doing, then check out my coaching. If you don't like it, that's cool too. It's entirely up to you. But you need some sort of sales process in place. And I call it the client getting system. I talk a lot more about it in the email newsletter that I offer for people who sign up for our special report. So if you want to learn more about that, then you would go to blog-mentorship.com. But that would be the place to learn more about that, because I talk a little bit more about the sales process there.
Definitely. And I like that because it's all about getting them in the lead, and now they're leads, and now at this point now they've gotten to know you, they've got to know, like, and trust you. You have many touch points with them. You're now overtly, you know, selling them on the benefits of possibly doing maybe a one-on-one coaching with you. And if they might be in a case where you want to do group coaching, that's another way to even upsell them. Or, you know, it's just basically figuring out what is going to work in terms of your coaching program and tying that into your blogging system so that they all work together, you know, to result in paying clients, I guess.
That's it. And I think that, you know, what happens is a lot of coaches get into blogging or they get into coaching, and they're like, okay, well, how do I convince the client to buy? And I'm like, that's not how it works. You don't try to convince the client. What you do is you ask them what they want, and then you show them how they can get it. And if coaching is the vehicle that helps them get what they want, whether it's more money, whether it's a partner, someone to love, whether it's getting more clear in terms of why they're here and what's fulfilling in their life, or if it's a new career, or if it's a new business, and you can help them with coaching as a vehicle get to that goal, then it will be a win-win. If you think of it, clients aren't buying coaching, they're buying the end result. They're buying the specific end result that they're getting as a result of paying for coaching.
So I guess basically it's because you knew from the onset what they want. That's why you're basically able to essentially sell them what they want, because you found out from the beginning. I'm curious, what processes do you have in place to kind of find out that kind of information from people that come into your blog or even sign up for your email list? How do you find out what they want? Because I think that would be something that would be beneficial for my audience to know, so that they might be able to take that information, if they follow your process, to kind of create content that helps people for what they want, I guess.
So there's two ways. I mean, there's tons of ways, but just to keep it short, there's two ways you can use right away. First way is on your blog. When people comment on your blog, they'll start asking you questions. And you kind of pay attention to that. What questions are people asking on your blog? When they comment, what's important to them? What's at the top of mind for them? And so that's where you want to pay attention. The second way is you could do a survey. You could do a survey on your blog. You could do a survey on your email list. I used to do surveys on my blog. I would post a blog post, and I'd say, hey, guys, can you help me out here? I'm thinking about writing a new book. Which topic interests you the most? And I would write the title of the book. You know, how to get motivated. You know, the 5 ways to discover your life purpose right now. Whatever the titles were for the book, I would say, I hadn't even written the book. I'm just like, here's 5 titles. Which one do you want me to write about? They would pick one, and then I would write that title. That's the way I created an info product, but you could create a coaching program the same way.
Co-creation. Basically, now you have the community. You're getting the community to tell you what they want so that you can sell it to them in their own words.
In their own words, exactly, yeah.
I love that. And just anyone who, I mean, thanks for doing this interview. And just so anyone who's been listening so far, how's the best way I guess before I even ask that question is, people have been listening to this, they've been learning about blogging, and you've been sharing with them, your process, the lead process, the traffic process, the conversion process, and how you turn them into paying clients. I'm curious, what's that one thing that anyone who has listened so far should get started with next after listening to this so that they can get started with this process of blogging? What's that one thing you want to leave with them?
Okay, so there's a special report where I share the 5 tools to you getting clients with your blog. And what I suggest is you download that special report. It's free. All you got to do is opt into our email newsletter. If you opt in, you read the report, and you're like, you want to opt out? Opt out. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But at the same token, you will get some value because I think the report's something like 28 pages. And then after that, we'll give you some awesome content as well that will help you learn a little bit more about email lists, sales process, all that stuff. And it's all part of our email list. It'll come to you virtually in your home so you can read it at home. So the place to go to is blog-mentorship.com. That's where you'll see a page. There'll be like basically special blogging for coaches report. There'll be a name, email, enter your information, and you're good to go.
And let's play. Let me play devil's advocate for a minute. Assuming there's that 1 or 2 people that haven't found all the awesomeness that you've shared so far and don't want to even sign up for your email list. What's that one actionable thing they can do without even signing for your email list that will help them even in this blogging process?
I don't know. You got me lost. I'm like, what are they going to do?
I'm just throwing this curveball. Let's see what we can get. I'm digging for more.
I'm thinking of something really simple, right, without too much instructions, and that would be set up a WordPresscom website just to start.
Definitely. Just get started with it, see how it goes, and then you can use that as a means to brainstorm on the next big direction you will take with your blogging. I love that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I would do. Just get started. Dive in and just test it out for yourself and see if something that works for your coaching business and the lifestyle you want to create.
Thank you, man. Steve, so how best can the audience connect with you and even get to thank you for doing this interview?
One way is on freedomeducation.ca. You can go check me out there. That's where I post all my new content. And blog-mentorship, that's a good place to get information. People try to get a hold of me on YouTube and try to get a hold of me on a blog. Sometimes that works. But if you're an email newsletter subscriber, you're subscribed to my email list, and you send me something, or you buy a product,
you get more attention that way. I mean, even when I have clients, my clients get my first attention more than anybody else. I mean, that's obvious, goes without saying. And so just thanks for everyone listening to this. And if you have any comments or questions about what Steve has been talking about in regards to you using blogging in your coaching business, let's get this conversation started. Leave comments below using the comment form below, and hopefully we can get Steve to jump back into the conversation and even answer your question.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good, Owen, and I appreciate you having me here.
Definitely. And anyone listening, if you enjoyed this interview, you felt was a good use of your time, please share it with other coaches so they can get the same benefit as well. Steve, awesome, we're done. Thanks for doing the interview.
Hey, man, I had a lot of fun.
If you enjoyed watching this video, I bet you want to discover everything you need to know about hiring, training, and working with a virtual assistant. Tips and strategies that you can immediately put to use in your business. Go now to virtualassistantblueprint.com and get my free 5-day video training course, and you will instantly discover how to avoid the 5 most costly outsourcing mistakes and how to make working with virtual assistants more profitable and fun. I can't wait to give you access to the video, so go now to the free training course, and the site again is virtualassistantblueprint.com. I'll see you soon.